The following is a KMOL News Special. Texans at War.
Good evening, I'm Deborah Daniels.
And I'm Jerry Grant. The Persian Gulf War was the most massive buildup of American soldiers since the war in Vietnam. And more than 50,000 Texans participated in the effort that eventually kicked Saddam Hussein and his troops out of Kuwait.
Among those were the members of the 41st Combat Support Hospital from Fort Sam Houston. KMOL reporter Brian Karem, first with photographer Bob Sullivan and then with fellow reporter Gabe Calgiano, visited the 41st as they deployed and eventually went to war.
Tonight in our studio audience are members of the 41st Combat Support Hospital, nurses, doctors, and staff members who made the trip to the Persian Gulf. With this small group, we plan to spend the next hour taking a look at how the 41st and other Texas units handled the separation from their families, the trials of war, and the fears that go along with it, as we take a look at Texans at war.
Last Wednesday, nearly 5 months to the day after leaving Fort Sam Houston, the members of the 41st came home. Some say not since World War II have American soldiers been welcomed home with such fanfare. These families have not seen their loved ones in 5 months, since the day after Thanksgiving last year. They've gathered at Kelly Air Force Base for the arrival of the 41st Combat Support Hospital, with balloons and cardboard signs, flowers, and anticipation. It is Wednesday, April 24th. As the Brooke Army Medical Center band plays for the anxious crowd, the plane carrying their friends and family lands. As part of Operation Desert Storm, the 41st traveled deep inside Iraq and treated wounded soldiers and civilians, even as the president declared the war over. Now, as they step off the plane, waving to family members, the thoughts of war are quickly leaving. They are replaced with the greetings from home.
It feels good, real good. Yeah, right. I'm really excited. I'm glad he made it back safely.
It feels great. I'm just glad he's right here, not still back over there. And I'm happy.
This is a time to get reacquainted. The soldiers, in some cases, are meeting their babies for the first time. Some are visiting with children who still can't understand why they left.
Feels good to be home with my girls, I tell you. Oh yeah, that's all I've been thinking about, being home with them.
Emotions, you just can't even describe it. It's great to be back in America. It is. We touched down in New York, it was a good feeling. We touched down again in Fort Knox, and then we're here. It's a long trip, but we're here, and we're all safe. So it's good to be back.
It's about time. We're just pleased to be home. Just about time. We're ready to come home.
Not all of the members of the 41st arrived home last week. Tony Stevens and Brian Shimbeda arrived home nearly a month ago to take part in a New York parade. They tell us what it was like to set up a hospital deep inside Iraq.
We had 4 days of mass casualties, which is what that boils down to is it's basically more casualties than you can handle easily.
After the actual ceasefire, we started receiving the majority of our casualties, which were civilians and EPWs. They were digging out of the Iraqi fighting positions. They didn't know the war was over or didn't know there was a ceasefire in effect.
After all they've gone through, the members of the Fort Sam Houston Hospital unit are looking forward to putting war behind them. What they went through in their travels to Saudi Arabia and Iraq are all a part of the story of Texans at war. 5 months ago, the 41st left for the desert of northern Saudi Arabia. They had been preparing for the move since the August 2nd invasion of Kuwait.
But they didn't get to go until the day after Thanksgiving. That's when Brian Karem and Bob Sullivan traveled with the group. They spent 3 days with the 41st in a place sometimes affectionately called Cement City. Many of the soldiers now look back at their time in this forward staging area near Dhahran, Saudi Arabia, as the harshest experience short of battle they had in the Middle East.
Covering! Attention!
The 41st Combat Support Hospital assembles one last time at Fort Sam Houston. It is 10 a.m., Monday, November 19th, 1990. Less than 1 week before Thanksgiving, these troops are ready to become part of the surging combat force in the Middle East. Their story is the story of Texans at war.
You need to be prepared for a very austere environment. Showers, those kind of things are not going to be available to us all the time, so be prepared for that and get your mind ready. We're still in the window between now and Wednesday to get on the plane, so be prepared.
No alcoholic beverage as of now.
Why?
Drink all the Coke you can drink.
Why?
Y'all should know better than that.
Make sure you put this out to all your soldiers. This is where they will be getting the mail at.
Simmons, Curry.
The troops take a variety of concerns with them. There is the separation from loved ones, the fear of war, the fear of not returning.
It's still kind of hard. You get those jittery butterflies of what's going to happen, but I'm ready to go.
I got a lot of jitteries like a lot of other people say. You know, I feel nervous at times about wondering what might happen when we get over there.
I raised my kids quite a few years by myself, and they don't basically have anyone else but me. So just the fact that I'll be gone and they won't be able to pick up the phone and call me like they do now almost every day. That is really my, and the grandson, who I usually spend all my weekends with and stuff. I'm going to miss him.
Drop down now.
Among these troops are Tony and Jamie Pattenoud, Amanda Horn, and Scott Webster.
Kind of weird, isn't it? A married couple going off to war together?
It sort of is, yes. We're hoping we can stay together once we're over there. You know, hoping they don't separate us and put me in another unit.
I'm just thankful I have him with me.
Tony and Jamie are newlyweds. Amanda will leave her 2 daughters behind. Scott will leave a pregnant wife and 2 daughters behind. And the only time Scott will see his newborn is on this videotape near Christmas.
Here's your new baby, Daddy. I was in labor for 22 hours.
A delay in flight plans enables the 41st to stay with family for Thanksgiving. But all too soon, it seems, it is time to leave.
Sir, we need you inside now. Is that clear, sir? Please.
Who's missing?
More just getting seasick with those there.
Third squad, KMOL.
Everything is relative in this country. This is a third world country.
The 41st arrives in Dhahran, Saudi Arabia at 1 a.m. November 25th. Exhausted, they will try to sleep. Many cannot because of jet lag. By dawn, the 41st is settled in at Cement City, a forward staging area located in an old cement factory outside of Dhahran. Cement City will become infamous for its low standard of living. The doctors of the 41st will try to do something about the horrible sanitation, lack of drainage, and foul-smelling latrines while they're here.
These stupid flies around here can't take a decent... And, you know, this is it. I'm really pissed at this.
Well, it's less than ideal, to say the least.
What are some of the problems?
Well, some of the problems are that they don't seem to have adequate drainage from hand washing. They don't have enough hand washing facilities. The showers are reasonable. The latrines are at least cleaned out fairly frequently, but they're relatively dirty inside.
Gosh, I hate going to the latrine. It's too bad it's a necessary thing.
The 41st will only stay here a short time. They won't be able to openly display American flags because of an agreement with the Saudi government. Jamie and Tony Pattenoud will only get short moments like this to see each other. Some of the members of the 41st are already missing their families, but like Amanda Horn, they haven't let that affect their sense of humor.
Anything you want us to tell your husband when we get back?
Well, he knows I love him, but you can tell him anyway.
I won't kiss him for you, though.
He probably wouldn't let you.
New generation sunglasses, desert shields.
Some, like Scott Webster, are putting in their time, doing their job, and trying to put aside the feelings of missing home and family.
Oh, I miss coming home in the afternoon and the girls running up to me, Daddy, so giving me a big hug. You always use one of those.
The 41st will next settle at this remote location in northeastern Saudi Arabia. They will set up their hospital for the first time here. The idea of being away from home during the Christmas season has many of the members of the company eager to send messages home. These messages range from the silly to the serious, and even include one marriage proposal.
Now, if this is a proper proposal, and we're going to show this to her, we got to see you on one knee.
Go, baby, go! Marry me when I get home and eat a gurgly.
Now, if she says yes, you want us to send it back a reply to you?
Oh, yeah.
Now, what if she says no?
Tell her to send me a plane ticket. I'll talk her into it when I get there.
So the question is, will she marry him?
Sure. Be more than happy to. Can't wait till he gets home.
Other greetings were much more somber.
A Merry Christmas, and I wish I could be there.
Merry Christmas to Leanne and Paul and Mel in San Antonio, Texas.
Tell me about this.
Oh, my daughter put it in my bag before I left. She snuck it in there with a little teddy bear.
Just like to say Merry Christmas to my mother and my father and the two big heads sitting there with them. And just maybe we'll be back for next Christmas.
Hey, I'm here. I'm having fun. Send me stuff. Copenhagen's good.
And we can tell because he's got 2 pounds of it inside his mouth right now.
Sorry, Dad.
I'm enjoying beans and weenies.
KMOL's Brian Karem and Bob Sullivan visited the 41st for a week as the company deployed at the end of November and the beginning of December.
These berms have been built to keep Iraqi tanks from overrunning the positions of the 41st Combat Support Hospital.
Brian and reporter Gabe Caggiano returned in February to chronicle the ground war and speak with the 41st and other Texas units. Their trip takes them through Iraq and Saudi Arabia. Eventually, they traveled to Kuwait and were among the first journalists inside the newly liberated Kuwait City. Their trip took them through minefields, within sight of burned-out Iraqi tanks, bomb craters, and other remnants of war. The story they're covering is another part of the story of Texans at war.
Texans at War, a KMOL news special. Brought to you by Miller Lite, the only beer taste big enough for Texas. By Gillespie Ford, proud to welcome all our troops home. By Nationwide Pennant and Flag, San Antonio's largest flag and banner manufacturer. And by McDonald's, who invites you to try their new 91% fat-free McLean Deluxe.